everyone, this is Lacey Yardy, and this is my presentation on psychoanalysis. So there were a lot of influences for psychoanalysis prior to Freud, or influences that Freud drew from. I'll just kind of touch briefly on these for the sake of time. Leibniz, with his study and ideas about monads and the awareness that can range from apperception to critique perceptions. Goethe, with the struggle between emotions and tendencies. Hegel, with the conflicting forces that explain human nature. Herbart, the threshold of consciousness and unconscious thought. He also used the term repression, which we can see Freud use a lot. Nietzsche, with the perceptual battle between rational and irrational tendencies. Fechner, who compared consciousness to an iceberg, with conscious thought above the water and unconscious below. Darwin, with animal instincts driving personality. Helmholtz, with the conservation of energy, which Freud then turned and used in his own theories. And Bernattato, with the distinction between objective and subjective reality. And finally, Karl Edward von Hartmann, with the 3 types of unconsciousness. So moving on to the man of the hour himself, Sigmund Freud, just a couple of quick facts about him that I thought were interesting. So moving on to the man of the hour himself, Sigmund Freud, just a couple of quick facts about him that I thought were interesting. He had a very close relationship with his mother and actually attributed all of his success in his career and in his professional life to being his mother's favorite child. He obtained his medical degree in 1881, and then another section in the book that I thought was interesting was about the cocaine episode, where Sigmund Freud kind of believed that cocaine was a bit of a cure-all and had very little to no side effects. Unfortunately, somebody ended up becoming addicted to cocaine and dying as a result of this. Sigmund Freud actually himself was never addicted to cocaine, but was very addicted to nicotine throughout his life with smoking cigars and ended up developing jaw cancer. So psychoanalysis really took off with Joseph Breuer and his studies with Anna O. So Breuer was a really close friend of the Freuds. And he treated a woman who was hysterical, who they called Anna O. Freud was still in school at the time, and thus, when this came about, he really gave all the credit to Breuer. Breuer traced Anna O's physical symptoms relating to her hysteria to psychological origins. He found that when she talked about this, that it would often resolve the physical symptoms. So he then termed this the cathartic method. Unfortunately, he became too close with Anna O and ended up having to terminate his relationship with her. Her real name was Bertha Pappenheim, and she later became a social worker in Germany and a feminist advocate. She was a playwright and a children's book author, and she actually maintained a negative attitude about psychoanalysis, which is, to me, really interesting. Another big influencer of Freud was John Martin Charcot, who dealt with hysteria also. Freud actually overheard him saying that hysteria is always something genital. Always, always, always. So when working as a neurologist, Freud found the typical treatments for hysteria to be ineffective. This led him to studying hypnotism and looking further into that. He began placing his hand on the patient's head during practice and saying, "Now you remember," which led to his method of free association from there. This is kind of an image that we're all pretty used to. He eventually discovered that he did not even need to touch his patients and had his patients lie on a couch facing away from him, as he believed this actually enhanced free association, and he also did not like being stared at all day. So finally, just to give kind of a little bit of psychoanalysis in a nutshell, it was a treatment for hysteria. They said hysteria was caused by traumatic events that had been repressed. Repressed experiences do not go away, according to Freud, and manifest then as physical symptoms, which must be dealt with rationally in order to be processed. And Freud used free association in order to access this repressed trauma and ultimately be able to help his patients process. Thank you so much, everybody. My information this week came from the book and the lecture, and I hope that you're all having a great end of your semester. Take care.